Hi everyone, today's video is the second half of the mental health assessment video. So if you haven't seen the first half, I'll leave a link to that in the description. So this assessment, I was actually hoping for it to go really well, but it didn't. I noticed that from the beginning there was a communication issue, as when I met the person doing the assessment, they asked me if I wanted a drink and I said yes, but they thought I said no, so I just went along with it. I don't see how yes and no sound the same. One of the main issues was that I wasn't happy with the questions asked. The first question asked was, can I describe my symptoms? This isn't a good way of starting an assessment. It would have been better if they actually asked questions to get some background information about me, instead of asking me about if there's any symptoms, because I might not even know what the symptoms are. I told them about how the jaw surgery and orthodontist stuff was causing me distress, and they basically asked straight away, is that going to stop me having gender reassignment surgery? I never told them that I was going to have surgery, so they just assumed that because I'm trans that I would have gender reassignment surgery, and that's basically putting a stereotype on me, because not all trans people have surgery, and they're just pretty much trying to force their own rules on me or something because they don't know what they're doing. The correct thing they did ask me was, how was the distress affecting me? And I told them that it was making me lose my temper, and I was basically just swearing at people when they weren't listening, because I was calling people bitch face and that sort of stuff. So basically I'm just putting two random words together and giving people names. But then that is the distress talking. But I'm also know that I'm still a kind, caring person, because I recently paid my friend's rent because they're struggling with money, and I also paid another friend to give them some food and everything. And it's also I saw a fight between 3 ants and a fly, and I separated them up so the fly could fly away, and I won't let the fly be killed on my watch. Even there's one here. They then asked a few questions about anxiety and depression, and then tried to make it look like I actually had them, but the problem is actually the distress that was caused by the people who are meant to be helping me, not helping me, and just making the problem worse. I also was asked if I feel like I'm a failure, which I don't. I feel like I just need more time to do things than other people, but that doesn't make me a failure. But I do think that the people who are meant to help me are failures though. I was being asked if I avoid anything because of the way I feel, and that's true, because of gender dysphoria. And it is common for trans people to avoid situations so we don't get embarrassed about stuff. Just like how many trans people avoid going to public toilets because they could be embarrassed if someone tries out in them or something. And we just avoid those situations. They tried saying that is anxiety, but what it really is that I don't want to deal with idiots. But it seems like mental health services are idiots anyway, so we don't know what they're talking about. They then asked about self-harm, but only cared if I did anything that needed hospital treatment, so they don't care if you self-harm either. Also, people can treat themselves, and then you don't need hospital treatment, so that basically just makes it so you don't, well, basically means that you don't care. They then asked the normal questions about am I a risk to anyone or is anyone else a risk to me, but there's never a problem there. When I told them that I don't eat much though, they said that as long as it's normal for me, it doesn't matter. The issue with that is, if I had an eating disorder, that'd be normal for me, but they don't care about either because it's normal. But it could still be a big issue, and it could cause health problems, but that's just ignored. I was then asked some more questions about my health, background information, and then we looked at the questionnaire that Miss Webber sent to me. So the questions on the questionnaire are written so poorly that they can look at them for a few seconds and decide that from those questions alone I'm dealing with anxiety and depression, which isn't true. As I said earlier, it is basically distress caused by people who are meant to be helping me, making things worse. And that distress wouldn't happen if people just did their job correctly. Towards the end of the assessment, I was asked what my goals for the assessment was. So, it basically asked me that question, and that could have gone at the beginning, because I told them I wanted the long-term support. Notice how I said the word support and not counselling. That'll be important later on. A few minutes later, they told me that they actually don't do any long-term support, and all they can offer is short-term CBT, and not any counselling at all either. As I had CBT in the past, I refused it, as I know exactly what it involves, and I don't want to do that again. Right at the end of the assessment, this happened. So yeah, they had a fire drill during the assessment, which definitely isn't good. Before leaving, the person doing the assessment couldn't think of like some sort of support I can get, so they had to have a meeting with their manager or boss, whatever, I don't know what they are, and basically call me up in a few days. Yeah, they didn't know what to do. The whole service doesn't know what to do. Something that did really bother me though was that during the whole assessment, basically the person that was doing it just rolled their eyes up quite often, so they just looked like this, and also it just looked like they weren't paying attention to me or weren't interested at all. So how can I trust someone that doesn't look like they're interested? So a few days later they called me up, and the best advice that they can do was to refer myself to the Beaumont Society. But that is basically just a magazine subscription and some online forms for like members only. Yeah, so those are clearly going to help me, because they can come to the doctor's appointments and orthodontist appointments and that sort of stuff with me to make sure I'm fine, because magazines can really help with that sort of stuff. But if you can't guess, I'm being sarcastic. If I wanted to join the Beaumont Society, I could have done that years ago. But because it can't give me any support that I need, then I'm not going to register with it. That's basically saying that these baby wipes could help me with talking to a doctor or someone. It didn't come down. A week later, I wasn't happy with the service I received, so I left a negative review, and just over an hour later, I got a phone call from a person who did the assessment. It felt like they were hunting me down just for leaving them a negative review, and I almost hung up the phone on them as I was still annoyed with them. At this point though, they now suddenly have cancelling as an option. But as I said earlier, they said that they didn't have it. But this is still a short-term option, so I didn't like the idea of it. But me being me, I have a habit of agreeing to stuff when someone says something, even if I don't want to, because like when I'm put under pressure and have to decide on the spot, I don't always make the right decision, because I need time to think about things. And they decided to contact my doctor, but I only gave them permission to talk to a certain doctor, but because they went in, they talked to another doctor, and I didn't give consent to that, so they should have waited. But they ended up referring me to the charity Mind. And although I think Mind is a great charity for what they do, their services aren't suitable for me. So I discharged myself from their service through Facebook. And yes, that worked. It could have been a fake account, but they would have never known because they would have never checked. There had been no way of them to actually prove that it was me typing to them on Facebook, as it could have been anyone. Although what happened with the mental health services, that didn't put me off like wanting to ask for some help. So I contacted the company Turning Point, which I was actually recommended to, and they basically are like support workers. But the issue with that is that the form that I had to fill out for their service, there's the baby wipes. The issue with that was that the form that I had to fill out for the service was really confusing and all over the place, and I did my best to fill it in and send it off to them, and like a week later I got a letter back basically telling me that I should contact the Beaumont Society. Does nobody know what the Beaumont Society is? And it also said, but if I do think that Turning Point is the right service, I can continue with a referral, but they can only offer me support for 12 weeks. That's no good. And the whole like mental health services and any helping thing run by the NHS is pretty much bullshit, because they can't do anything. So now I've decided to just completely ignore anything that's causing me distress, and if there's any problems caused by it, then the people who cause in the trouble will have to deal with it themselves. But now I've decided to completely abandon the jaw surgery and orthodontist stuff because nobody's helping, and if I go through that sort of thing on my own, it's just going to make me really ill. So I'm not going to do that. Because it's better to be like physically deformed than mentally damaged. So that's the video about mental health service, and it has basically put me off getting help from them in the future. As although as one was really good in the past, it was basically a different department in a different place, and I liked the person there because they were like nice people. But the one that I went to this time was basically clearly in an office, so wasn't any help, and the staff were pretty much rude. So one department as one is good, but the one I went to was completely rubbish, and I don't recommend sending anyone there. Hi everyone, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to subscribe, and while you're at it, check out the playlist of previous videos, and I will see you next time. Bye!